All right, let's get into learning how to play Super Trains. Specifically at two players, there are very small changes with a two-player setup, which I'll mention as we go through, especially the setup. Gameplay-wise, though, it plays the same. So you're going to place the game board in the center of the table. We are going to create the train depot. You're going to shuffle the passenger cards, deal out 3 into this designated spot, shuffle the cargo cards, again, 3 in their designated spots, and then you're going to place the kind trains again. They have a designated spot. You are then going to create the roll-R deck, and this is the main one where player count comes into play. In a 2 to 3 player game, you're going to use 6 green, 6 gray, and 3 red. In a 4 and 5 player game, you're going to be using 8 green, 8 gray, and 4 red. But you're going to shuffle all the green cards, choose 6, shuffle all the gray, deal out 6, shuffle all the red, deal out 3. You're then going to take the green, put them on top of the gray, put them on top of the red, plop them right here in the middle, and take your roller and plop him on top of that deck. There are the 3 dice. You are going to place them near the board. We'll just set them right there for now. You're going to grab the trays with the gears and gear generators in them, placing them in a supply nearby where everyone can reach them. Then each player is going to choose a super train. They're going to grab their super train mini, put it in their starting location, which is the colored spot that matches their train. They're going to grab their train board, the star board, their 3 super gear tokens as well. Each person is going to be getting delivered or dealt a mission card, 1 of each color. They are also going to draw a cargo and passenger card to be their starters, and they'll put them on the passenger and cargo spots on their board. If you're choosing to play with the special locations, you are going to choose one of the sides of each one, and you can play with 1 or 2, and then you are going to place them here where the 4 trains are on either side that you want. A game of Super Trains is going to be played in rounds going back and forth between all the players until the last roll-R card is placed from the emergency deck. At that point, all players get 2 more turns, including the player who placed out that final emergency card, and then you're going to add up total points. So player's turn is going to start with the dice phase. So in the dice phase, they are going to roll all 3 dice. Note, in a 2 and 3 player game, for the first 3 rounds, you are only going to roll the gear generation die. In a 4 and 5 player, it's the first 2 rounds, you're only going to roll that die. All subsequent rounds, you're going to roll all 3 dice. So when you roll all 3 dice, you are going to activate them. You are going to look at the gear die. All players at that point are going to see if they have a gear matching that color, in this instance yellow. If they do, they will simply produce a yellow gear, placing it on that gear generator. You are only allowed to have 1 gear on a gear generator at a time, so I would not be able to place a second one on top of there. Couple of special things when you are the person who rolled the die that only apply to you. You are actually allowed to place up to 3 gears on gear generators as long as they are connected. So if I had rolled that and my board looked like this, I'd be able to place 1 on each of those. Additionally, if we do not have a gear generator that matches that color, as is the instance with my board, I can instead place a gear of that color onto the multicolored generator there. There is a side of the die that shows all the different colors. Those you can produce any color on your board, again with those same special rules. So if I had rolled that and had a green one there, I could place 2 green right there. Important thing to note, you do this before the roller attacks and he does his thing. So that's the gear generator die. The next dice you're going to look at are these dice. So this is the roll-R die. You're going to look at that first. If it's got an arrow like this, that means he moves. There are 2 movements. There is this one, which means he is just simply going to move up. This line denotes the bottom of the board. The other one is this one, where he is going to instead move to the right. Typically, you cannot share a space with roll-R, but if roll-R ends up moving into a space where a super train is, that super train will take a damage, which is simply grabbing a damage token and placing it near their board. That will be negative points at the end of the game if you still have it. Otherwise, typically he will just move. He is going to block that track. You cannot go through him. And then if he is on a location, you are not allowed to enter or deliver or anything to that location. Alternatively, it may be a picture of Rolar's face. In that instance, you're going to be placing out one of these emergency cards. You're going to then look at the location that is depicted there. In this instance, the police HQ. You are going to take the topmost emergency card. You're going to place it on that location face down. Doubling back on Rolar's movement, one thing I forgot to cover is if he needs to move and he's at the edge of the board, he simply wraps to the other edge of the board. And then one last thing about these emergencies is if you need to place one and there's one already there, you're simply going to just slide it underneath. So after resolving the dice, you are now going to move into the super train phase. In the super train phase, you can do up to 6 different things. So you can move your super train. You only can move once per turn, but you are allowed to do actions during that movement. When you move, you can move up to 5 spaces, and then you can spend as many green gears as you want during your movement to add 2 to your movement. So some things about movement is when you start your turn, it doesn't matter which way your train is focused or facing, you can move in any direction. So I can start by going this way or I can go that way. However, once I start in a direction, so I can't go 1, 2, 3. I cannot double back. I am allowed to move through other super trains. I'm also allowed to stop on their same spots. I am not allowed to move through Rolar or through emergencies. I also cannot jump from track to track. So in order to get here, I'd have to come around this way to get up through there. One thing you can do on your turn is you can drop off cargo. So say I start going this way, I can go 1, 2, 3. In the middle of my movement, I can stop. I can drop off this cargo. This school, which is the purple, wants a yellow gear. So I would just simply spend a yellow gear from my supply. I would grab what's below here. So this is a blue and a yellow gear generator. I will then place these on my board wherever I want. I just cannot cover up any of the pre-printed multicolored gears. I would then take this and put this into my little location right here, showing that it has been completed. I would then be able to continue my movement. So I've moved 3 and then I can go 4 and 5 if I had wanted to. Again, remember I couldn't then backtrack. You also do not immediately grab a replacement cargo or passenger when you do it. You are going to do that at the end of your turn during the upgrade phase. Another thing you can do on your turn is dropping off passengers. So again, let's say my turn started here. I can go 1, 2, 3. I have a passenger for the hospital. I would simply drop them off, taking the reward, which in this instance is a red gear generator. So I will go ahead and take that and I'd place that on my board wherever I want, placing them here. The other thing is in one location, you can do both. So in this instance, I also have this cargo that wants to be delivered. So I can just simply discard my red gear. Again, getting the rewards. In this instance, it's going to be 2 end of game points, placing it in my little victory pile right here. One thing to note about dropping off passengers or cargo is you are not allowed to drop them off when you start your turn with them. So if I refilled this to have this passenger right here, next turn I would not be able to drop them off. I would have to come back around in order to drop them off. Another thing you can do on your turn is you can solve an emergency. If you are adjacent to an emergency and it is flipped face down, you can flip it over and attempt to solve it. In order to solve an emergency, it's going to show what it needs. In this instance, a yellow and a blue. You are going to discard those to the supply, grabbing the card, and then getting whatever its reward is. In this instance, it is a point and a gear generator of my choice. This would then go to your victory pile. If you attempt to solve a face down emergency, flip it over, and you do not have what is required, there are 2 things that can happen. 1, you can ask your fellow players if they would like to help by giving you the gear or gears that you need. So in this instance, I need a yellow. So if my opponent said, hey, here's your yellow, I would then pay both of those. I would get the card and its reward, and my opponent would get a kind train card for each gear that they give me. They then look at it and see what the special power or point value of it is, leaving it in their area to use then or at a later time. If none of my opponents can help, instead what will happen is I will take a damage token and then my turn ends immediately. Once a emergency is face up, if someone goes to solve it at a later time, they need to have everything they cannot ask for help and that thus give people kind cards. They need to solve it on their own. As long as you solve the emergency and it goes off the board, you then can continue your move if you have movement left. The last couple of things you can do on your turn is if you have certain super gears that allow you to do something, you can do those. And you can also play your train cards. So this, or your kind cards. In this one, teleport to any space, discard after use. So I could just use this and say teleport right to there and then discard it. But once you are done moving and doing all the other parts like so, you are then going to move into the upgrade phase. At this point, you can buy upgrades for your train. You have your upgrades here. It is all different for all the different trains. They are going to have a cost. So in this instance, this one is a green and a yellow. I would simply spend them. I would take this, flip it over, and then your first one can go up here in the super gear. If you purchase other ones, you place them on your train, taking up your gear generator spots. You are not, again, allowed to cover your multi-gear one. You are, however, allowed to discard gear generators if you want to make room for it. This time I want to note that that the blue and yellow train have these extra big upgrades. They give them either an extra cargo or extra passenger. When they purchase these, they can place the first top part on the super gear and then the other one onto their train like so, but it can't be popping off the top of the train like that, like there, and then they would simply have room for an extra passenger or extra cargo from the deck. The purple train also has spots for 2 super gears up here, but does not have the starting colored gear generator. Once they're done with that, they are going to be grabbing the passenger or cargo card. They can grab one from the face up, or they can top deck it. So in this instance, I may go ahead and see what this top passenger is. They want to go to the school, and then let's just go ahead and top deck the cargo, which wants to go to the hospital. At that point, the next player would go. So again, the game end is going to get triggered when this last Roll-R emergency card does get placed out. At that point, everyone takes 2 more turns, including the person who put out this last emergency card. One thing to note with this is if this is the last Roll-R attack card on the board and you defeat this, Roll-R then will just get removed from the board and you have wide open board at that point. Then, once everyone has completed those final 2 turns, you are going to move into end game scoring. So you are going to see if any of your dropped off passengers show any points, such as this one. You are going to get points for any delivered cargo that shows points, such as this hospital card. Any solved emergencies are also going to have points on them. Certain kind train cards will also depict points, such as these, so you'll get points from those as well. And then your completed missions. So I have not gone over missions yet. So missions are going to be giving you 3 points each when you complete them, and you're just going to have to complete what is depicted on there. So for instance, this one wants me to deliver 5 cargo. One thing you can do instead of necessarily placing the cards here right away is you could also place them on there to keep track for when you know you've completed it. This next one here wants me to drop off 3 passengers specifically at the carnival. So I'd be looking for the passengers that want to be at the carnival. This wants me to have 2 of each type of generator. Again, the generators are the square ones. So you're going to give yourself points for any of those that are completed. There are certain upgrades that give points, such as this one gives a point per each of the green generators. Whoever has the longest connector chain, so basically the longest chain of same color generators, collects 4 points. If there's a tie, each player gets 2 stars. And then if you have fully filled up your train car, you get an additional 3 stars. Whoever has the most points is the winner. So that is the basics of how to play Super Trains. I did not go into the special locations. Those are covered in the rule book. And again, each train has different little super gears. Those are all covered on the tiles. If there's any instances in there, they will be in the rule book as well. All right. So if I can get you to please head down below and hit like, subscribe, comment, share, ring the bell. Let me know what interests you most about this game. In addition to that, if you're looking for games, we have a link to Miniature Market down below. You click that, we get credit for the sale to help bring you more content. If you are also instead looking for a powdered energy drink, we have partnered with Dubby. You can go ahead and visit dubby.gg, use the code MEEPLES, and you get a discount, and we get a portion of those sales again to help fund what we are doing here. Alrighty, so ride them rails.